Lawmakers in several states are not waiting for Congress to act. They're taking gun safety and mass shooting prevention into their own hands, albeit in different ways. Let's take an in-depth look, starting in New York State. Lawmakers are considering a bill that would require someone to get a license to purchase a semi-automatic rifle. Buyers would also have to be 21 years old. Moving over to Ohio, lawmakers want to prevent school shootings by allowing teachers and school staff to carry guns with just 24 hours of training. For some context, Ohio police officers are required to have more than 700 hours of training. This bill has already passed the Ohio House and Senate. It's expected to be signed by the governor. And in California, lawmakers are considering a bill enabling private citizens to sue anyone who manufactures, distributes, or sells assault weapons, ghost guns, or ghost gun kits.
And after these high-profile mass shootings like in Texas, like in Buffalo, well, gun dealers immediately see a surge in sales, and many of those people are buying guns for the first time.
Today, Denver 7's Rob Harris talked with instructors who've seen a surge in people signing up for training.
We 100% understand that rights come with responsibilities.
Edgar Antione is no stranger to the gun range.
I am the founder of Guns for Everyone. We've instructed close to 100,000 students in the state of Colorado. We run thousands of students monthly.
Antione says his group has experienced what national trends tell us, that high-profile shootings, like those we've seen in the past few weeks, lead to big spikes in both gun sales and gun training.
So a lot of these people are people who have been holding it off for quite some time. They've already been thinking about it, and in that process, this happened, unfortunately, and that's kind of what pushed them over the fence, over the edge to get this.
Bristlecone Shooting, Training, and Retail in Lakewood has seen the same increase in interest, particularly for concealed carry training. Owner Jacqueline Clark says there's been a 60% increase in registrations just in the past week.
And I think it's because people are observing what's happening and thinking about, well, what if that was me? What if that was my kids? How could I better protect myself?
Take a look at this graph from the Brookings Institution. It analyzes FBI data on background checks for firearm sales across the country. And after the mass shootings in Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, and Parkland, as well as the unrest during the pandemic, we see levels much higher than normal predictions. But both Jacqueline Clark and Edgar Antione see the related increase in training as a good thing, a way to increase safety for both gun owners and our community.
We're always happy to see them going after the training. That shows that they want to be educated and do it the right way.
If we get more educated individuals out there that understand keeping guns away from people that shouldn't access these firearms, this is a fantastic way to kind of approach that.
The state of Colorado requires universal background checks for all gun sales. According to state data, more than 443,000 InstaChecks were reported before sales in 2021, and only about 2% of those were denied sales. In the studio, Rob Harris, Denver 7.